I continue completing my childhood dream of having all the Masters of the Universe figures. Gonna open up Teela. Again, one of the figures I always looked at on the back of my Point Dread book as a kid, so even just watching the cartoon, I knew the figure came with this strange kind of snake costume, snake staff. I always wondered what the deal was with that, so we're gonna open it up and we'll talk about why she comes with that, and we'll just check out the figure in general. Does this bug anybody? Does this bother anybody if I do this? Oh, it was a non-punch card and you punched it, you fool! Oh, I apologize for that. I'm just gonna open it anyway, so it's alright. I'm sure you'll find a non-punch card for your unpunched on-card collection. Everybody collects differently, so. Same comic here, the whole wave 1 is coming with. So I think with these figures, they're going with the original toy line slash the comics. These are new comics, obviously, but when they were first doing the line, they had their own comics. The problem is they cram it in there and it kind of gets bent. Here is Teela with her snake outfit on. I mean, it's all one solid color, so you kind of have to look close to see the snake face shape. So the reason she comes with that, because in the original line they were going to have the sorceress from the comic, which wore this outfit. She had kind of green skin. They're going to have separate figures. I think Teela had like long hair let down in the comics. So they're going to do two figures, but I thought maybe it'd be hard to sell the two warrior ladies in the line. They always had a problem with the female characters in early toy lines. They were always really hesitant to put the ladies, so still pretty brave of the Masters of the Universe line to have Teela and Evelyn, and later they did do the sorceress as she appears in the cartoon, the bird costume instead of the snake. So this is supposed to be a 2-for-1 figure. You had the sorceress if she had the snake staff and snake outfit, and you switch to Teela if you just took off the snake outfit. It's just a piece there. You'd lose the staff and just have Teela, but she has the red hair. It was kind of hard to tell in the packaging there, although it's the same color as the gear, which is kind of weird, but so I did have Teela of the Masters of the Universe original line, but, you know, it had a broken leg because the straps always broke, and it was a 5 points of articulation. This one, you know, obviously way more motion, you know. They're meant to be kind of modular and come apart, but you can kind of get more ball joint elbows, twisting elbows and jointed wrist. She has a lot more motion, ankle twist at the knee, which is kind of weird in the package. It was a little off on the joint there. And I remember the original had just a flat like hand like this. It was always weird because all she could do is go, yeah. This is kind of weird. And then she had the her other hand was like the one where it's solid mold, so you can only put the staff down in. So these are open hands. You can hold some different accessories, which is what I was going to talk about here. If you just leave the snake stuff off, you know, if that's going to be the sorceress kind of parts, then Teela herself is just left with a shield. Like, that's your only weapon? I mean, this is her shield with that spike on it and the design and everything. So what I did was search around if there was a way to give her a weapon like she had in the show. She always had a sword. And so I was kind of searching around which figures of Teela came with different weapons. Of course, there's, you know, higher end figures that came with their weapons, but, you know, to raid one of those is just kind of like, why don't I just get the higher end figure then? What gave me an idea were the Eternium Minis that came with their weapons, and I thought, is there different lines like this? I remember seeing all sorts of crazy little figs of different things like Masters of the Universe and things. So what I discovered was there was a line called Loyal Subjects, and there was a Teela in that, and she didn't come with the snake gear. She actually came with her sword and shield combo. And it was fairly cheap just to get that figure's weapons. So I thought maybe we can give Teela her sword. So first of all, here's the shield from the Loyal Subjects. Obviously it's much smaller, doesn't have the spike, so that's a little bit useless, but here is the sword, and that is the shape of Teela's sword, like on the shows and things like that. But we'll show, you know, here's He-Man's sword from the Origins line. He-Man's peeking out of the Point Dread over there. So obviously it should be bigger technically, but here it is in her hand, and it looks pretty good, I think. I mean, the size is a little short, but having no weapon is kind of lame. So here she just kind of has, you know, a short sword. I mean, it looks pretty good. It's like her, you know, I'm collecting these more as they aren't supposed to be of the cartoon, but I'm just collecting characters that were on the cartoon is what I'm going to go with, just to kind of limit myself, and vehicles and things like that. As far as collecting, I mean, it's good to have a limit on your thing instead of like, I'm going to buy every single thing they release. Like, well, don't go too nuts there, but just as a little extra touch there, because I probably wasn't going to display it with the snake piece, because I am collecting it in a sense of the cartoon more than the comic. So it's cool that she has the snake stuff, but that's supposed to be kind of her sorceress form. Heroic warrior goddess! And I think her having her sword is like really cool. And since she has these open hands, you know, she doesn't just have that circle hand that could only hold the staff. She can have the sword in there. Looks pretty good for just Teela. I like it. What do you think? Tell me what you think. I mean, I can't buy a Master Universe Classics like accessory, or it's probably like pretty expensive. So, and at that point, why don't I just collect that line? But I like these because they are like an echo of that original line that I always dreamed of having, could never find as a kid. I started watching the cartoon way after the popularity was done and the stores didn't have the toy lines available anymore. But it is kind of cool that it's kind of a 2-for-1 thing, the sorcerer's thing. And as far as this look, you know, I think cartoon Teela might have had white poof here, and I think she had white wristbands. Everything else is fairly the same, you know, the hairstyle up and everything. But since this is just more of a recreation of the original line. Actually, even in this picture, she has white parts there that are more like cartoon Teela. Put this back on, you know, there's a little ring there, it goes up her little bun hair up there, and it's a cool little costume, but I don't recall her ever gearing up in the snake gear on the cartoon, at least the original cartoon. I think they did do some kind of story with the 2002 just to incorporate the snake stuff, but it's a cool outfit with the snake thing, but I just kind of like Teela as she is without the accessories. But we'll keep them around just in case. Teela's a pretty big part of the story. I mean, you have like He-Man that's like practically invincible with his power. It's like, how brave do you need to be to jump into battle and save when you have invincible superpowers? But Teela is just kind of a normal person, just kind of training with the Royal Guard, and her dad's kind of the head of that, and she might take over that one day, but she's also connected to the Sorceress, where she could be the Sorceress of Eternia someday as well. She's got like quite a fate and a lot of importance and skill also, so. And she's jumping into battles without that like invincible power that He-Man has, so who's really the bravest of the masters of the universe, you know? So Teela's plenty brave, plenty important to the story, and cool character. Cool that they actually went with some female characters in the toy line, because like toy companies are always scared to do that. Like, oh, it's going to be a shelf warmer. Boys don't want to play with that. But she was such a big part of the show that I would have definitely wanted her, even as a kid, to play with. So to have her now, she looks really good with this Origins line. You got the extra articulation. I wish she would have just came with a sword, but that was just more of the cartoon kind of thing. So this line is definitely more just mirroring the original toy line. So this is just kind of my added effect, added bonus. It's getting that sword from the Royal Subjects line, so if you can get a hold of one of those, it's pretty cool. It's a cool toy line, but I never really liked the kind of chibi, weird, cute things there. I mean, I grabbed some Eternium Minis because I wanted the little Castle Grayskull playset and the Snake Mountain playset because I wanted to paint them up, because I saw some getting painted, so I think they look pretty cool, all painted and everything. I just mostly wanted these, so I ended up, I just grabbed them. I didn't look up the codes on the bottom or anything. Ended up getting He-Man in both of them, just out of luck and chance. So wish I would have got, you know, Skeletor and He-Man to have the two, but it was just kind of a bonus there, all painted up, looking cool. Nice little display pieces there. So I'm opening up all my Masters of the Universe Origins figures here, so stick around if you want to see some more of those. I open all my other figures here as well, and kind of give my insight and review of why I'm collecting it. We just kind of look at why we collect here. I don't do crazy joint breakdowns of every way it can move unless it's different than the rest, but most of these have the same articulation. We're just looking at why we collect them. Why that is I always wanted the lines and it was never available, and so I have a video telling my story there, so that's a pretty good video. If you want to check that out, it'll be on the screen. You can tell me if that's your story too, or if you had all the originals before, just let me know. Put it in the comments. What's your Masters of the Universe story? And do you like the sword for this Teela Origins figure? Let me know. Adam, are you being lazy again? Get back to your training. Slice.